What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Blue Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Is it me, or is the water sound a lot louder today? I cleaned out the leaf basket, and it seems like there's a ton of water that is flowing off here. It just seems really, really loud. It's literally drowning out everything, including myself here. But the more water that moves, the better it is for the fish to get that oxygen in there, because even the fish got to breathe, right, guys? It's getting crazy, guys. It's getting crazy because here it is, the 4th of July, our Independence Day, and here it is, mass shooting at a parade. 6 people killed, 19 injured. But wait, there's more. I'm hearing about not far from me, last night a shooting, 4 people shot. 4 people shot. Yeah. I don't know what's happened to the world and our country, where it just seems like you've got a beef, you got to shoot. I'm just mystified at this whole thing, and I just don't know where it ends. It's at my parents' house with my parents, and my dad's like, I've never seen anything like this in his 72 years of life. Never seen anything like this. It's insane. You know, I went down to Stewart's house and was blessed to have so many people that got together to make that whole thing come together, from different walks of life, different sides of the aisle, different sides of the fence. We came together and did something beautiful. That's what our country used to be about in everything. Somehow we'd have lost our way, and I hope we find it again soon, because this is just craziness. I mean, parades, movie theaters, churches. It doesn't matter where you are. There's always going to be somebody out there that's going to try and take all it away from us. So, here we sit, less than 3 weeks away from training camp. Well, no, a little over 3 weeks away from training camp. We've got all the polls and everything else about how the Cowboys haven't done enough, Cowboys aren't good enough, Cowboys are terrible. You know, even though we won the division last year, that the Eagles are better, and, you know, Mike McCarthy has lost it. Dak Prescott is dink and dunk, and, you know, it's just, Cowboys just aren't a good team. That's the bottom line with all of the talk that you get. Well, here's the thing. Let's turn back the clock here for a minute. This time last year, ranked 28. What they said about a team. Basically, the coach is on the hot seat, that after 6 wins over 2 seasons, that if they don't do something, a coaching change will be made. Their post-draft ranking for this team was 29th. You know what team that was? That was picked to be last in their division? The Cincinnati Bengals. The expert said this team's ass. They suck. They're not good. They're the worst in their division. Yet that team was in the Super Bowl. And I'll give you this one, Eagle fans. Eagle fans. The year you went to the Super Bowl, the year before, you were ass. You were in the basement of our division. This stuff of being anointed in preseason and off-season, all these lists of, post-draft, nobody knows who's going to be good. Nobody knows who's going to be bad. It's all speculation. And some of it is actually founded in what will get people to watch me more. Let's be clear. That's what it really is. You can call me crazy, you can call me an idiot, but it's the truth. That's the way it works. Now for me, here's why I believe the Dallas Cowboys will actually be better. Even on offense. As we're always told, everything comes down to the quarterback. Now, I get it. A lot of y'all will say, well, Dak Prescott and the quarterback sneak that was called and this, that, and the other. You know what's funny? Dak had a touchdown pass and a touchdown run in that game. We had 14 penalties in there. We had really no running game whatsoever. And we still had a chance to win. The very next week, Aaron Rodgers, against that same team, where Jimmy Garoppolo only threw for 106 yards. He did not get them in the end zone by his arm or his leg. But nobody talks about that. Nobody does. So, we've been hit, of course, with the losses that we've had between Connor Williams. It's revisionist history that Connor Williams is like Larry Allen or something, the way the talking heads talk about it. But we're talking about the most penalized player in football who got beat on a regular. There's Lyle Collins, who missed 7 games. And in the 10 games he played in, had 9 penalties. And I dare say Lyle Collins, maybe he was still recovering from the hip issue from the year before, and maybe he'll be better this year. Can't say that we had a great season out of Lyle Collins. And I believe his best days are behind him. Amari Cooper, really good receiver, but not always there when you need him. Now here's why I'm optimistic. The fact that our quarterback actually has an off season where he's not worrying about his leg falling off and being on a pitch count and unable to throw in training camp because of a shoulder, that this guy right now is working out with his guys in timing and accuracy, that when he gets to camp that he won't have a dead arm like he did last year because he was trying to play catch up, that he's not having to change his mechanics because he's coming back from injury, that he will be that much better. And I dare say the 860 yards that we have from Amari Cooper, that I think that that's going to be made up by Jalen Tolbert as well as by James Washington. You watch. I think our offensive line, although always dependent on Tyron Smith, I think the offensive line will actually play better with Connor Williams gone and actually Lyle Collins not flipping time with tackle with Terrence Steele. And Terrence Steele needs to stay right where he's at. And if that's the case, then our running game will be better and the Cowboys can get back to a semblance of balance. See, I'm okay if we can get, the yardage that we were getting from Amari Cooper, but if we can pick up some yardage in the running game. Because more than anything else, the second half of the season, that was the killer. We were relying on basically the passing game. And you have to look at teams and say, you must be balanced. Now, everybody's saying, we should have gotten this player and that player. And I understand to a point the philosophy of, should we pay premium money for a player that may be over the hill? You can look back the year before. Now, last year, we didn't spend a lot of money in free agency. You have to say that our team was better off with the free agents that we got last year versus the year before. You'll remember, we signed Clinton Ha-Ha Dix, who was, a safety who had played some good time. had played some good games. Not great, but you looked at it and said, okay, we got a safety. Definitely had a better pedigree than Jaron Kearse, but yet Jaron Kearse is a lot better. We picked up a guy like Dontari Poe, who had miles on him, who was overweight when he showed up to camp and was on the PUP list. He couldn't perform when he got there in training camp, on a shortened training camp. I got to say that I think we're better off with, Quentin Bohannon and John Ridgeway at nose than we would be with a Dontari Poe. We brought in a Gerald McCoy and paid him a few $1 million, and he was injured before training camp was even, started. Really started, and couldn't play for us. So we spent money the year before on free agents to not have any of them pan out. Last year, you can look and say, they brought in Carlos Watkins and Brent Urban and, Jaron Kearse, Basham, which is a great name for a defensive end. You can look at that and say, well, those guys at least made it through the season. We cut Clinton Ha-Ha-Dix. We got rid of Dontari Poe during the season. Gerald McCoy was injured. And, guy from Minnesota. We traded him, got rid of him, let him go, and he went back to Minnesota. So none of those guys had any staying power, and those were all guys that were considered decent players. But yet the no-names that we got are the ones that stuck and actually were brought back for the next season. Now, could it be that I know it's not winning Super Bowls, but the guys who signed a year before weren't winning as jack? That the Cowboys actually have some players that they feel good about. Players that, we forget about. We forget that we got Neville Gallimore. We forget that we got O.C. Yamanuro. That we got, Armstrong. That we end up drafting guys like Sam Williams. That we have, of course, a Micah Parsons and a D-Law, okay? That we have guys that they look at and say, this guy is a player. Because they looked at guys last year and said, this guy's a player that I can win with. Players that we had no clue on. And unfortunately, what happens is we all fall for what you hear on ESPN and NFL Network, hell, on Twitter and YouTube. Because everybody's got, a camera and a videotape, and everybody now is an analyst that all of a sudden knows how to win. Well, I don't want to say trust the process, but I'm going to have a wait and see attitude and see, because if the Cowboys end up finding a couple of players that come out of nowhere that do like Jaron Kearse did, this team could be really good. Could be really good. And one thing about football, I will say this. A lot of times you get a player that's a better player. They may be faster, stronger, and everything else. But they don't necessarily fit or work well with others. Because more than anything else, you have to understand, football is a team sport that when one guy fails to do their job, that the play will fail. And sometimes having the cohesion of players, because not always the dream teams or the all-stars teams that win the Super Bowl. It's those teams that actually play together. A lot of times those guys aren't known until after they win. I think the Cowboys are going to be a better team. We'll see if I'm right or not. How good? I don't know. I'm not going to be up here pounding my chest saying we Super Bowl bound or anything like that. But I think that this team is going to be a really good team. And we won't know till the end of the season whether I'm right or wrong. So, people, if you want things to change, You got to first start with yourself. This killing each other's got to stop. This hating each other's got to stop. We were all on this big blue marble here together. You don't have to agree, but just because you don't agree doesn't mean that I gotta shoot you. Doesn't. Stop the hate, y'all. Stop the hate, please. We like to fish here. Just enjoy life. I'll see y'all later.